Welcome to MSP lecture series on main group chemistry. This is 55th lecture in the series. Today I would like to draw your attention to the chemistry of group 12 elements. Group 12 elements have intermediate properties between main group elements as well as transition elements. Of course, we have three elements: zinc, cadmium and mercury. Although these three elements are placed with the D block elements, have properties much similar to main group elements rather than transition elements, and all these three elements have D10S2 electronic configuration with a group oxidation state of +2 due to the loss of the 2s electrons. And of course, HgF4 was theoretically predicted in 1994. If you just look into the ionization energies for zinc, cadmium and mercury, you can see here the first ionization energy for zinc, cadmium and mercury are given along with beryllium, that is 913, 874, 1013 and 906 kilojoules per mole. And similarly, second ionization potential is expected to be little higher. In case of zinc, it is 1740 kilojoules per mole, whereas in case of cadmium, mercury and beryllium, these values are 1638, 1816 and 1763 kilojoules per mole. From these data, it is very clear that these three elements resemble very close to beryllium in terms of their first and second ionization enthalpies. Let me, before I proceed further, let me give some idea about the people who discovered these three elements. Zinc was discovered in 1668 by Andreas Marggraf. You can see here, this is how zinc looks like. And cadmium was discovered in 1817 by Frederick Straumeyer. And of course, mercury known in ancient days since 1500 BC. And of course, it was known to Hindus even much earlier, and also Egyptians knew how to extract mercury from its ore cinnabar. In many aspects, as I had already mentioned, zinc and cadmium compounds are very similar to the analogous magnesium compounds and have the same structures. Mercury compounds have a greater degree of covalent character, often with low coordination numbers. And +1 state is quite well established for mercury, but it is very unstable in the case of zinc and cadmium. And zinc has much more similarities to beryllium. Both have similar first and second ionization energies, and though zinc 2+ is larger than beryllium with different coordination numbers. Of course, when you look into beryllium, it has a maximum coordination number of 4, whereas zinc can have 4, 5 or 6 coordination. Both metals react with acids and alkali, and both form a basic ethanoate or acetate of the type M4O, 6 acetates. You can see that one in the next slide. You can see here, this is how the zinc acetate looks like. Of course, the carboxylate salts of the metals, magnesium to barium, have this type of normal salt structure. Of course, beryllium hydroxide also reacts with carboxylic acids such as acetic acid to give basic carboxylates that I had discussed while discussing the chemistry of group 2 elements. This one is very similar to this beryllium basic carboxylate. Yeah, so we have one tetrabridging oxygen and bridging acetates. Because of the Ns electrons in zinc, cadmium and mercury are tight bound, they are relatively unavailable for metallic bonding, and so the metals are volatile with low melting and boiling points. In fact, mercury is a unique metal, being a liquid at room temperature and forming a monoatomic gas. Let us look into the occurrence of these three elements. Of course, zinc, cadmium and mercury are chalcophilic. That means they have strong affinity for the chalcogens such as sulfur, selenium and tellurium, and they occur naturally as sulfide minerals. For example, zinc occurs as zinc blende, also known as sphalerite, having the composition ZnS, and also contains trace amount of cadmium, and mercury is obtained from its major ore cinnabar, that is HGS, and of course HGS, mercuric sulfide, is unstable above 400 degree centigrade and decomposes to the metal. The zinc oxide and cadmium oxide are reduced to the metals using carbon, and in case of mercuric sulfide, one can go for auto reduction. In that process, what one has to do is mercuric sulfide has to be combined with a controlled amount of oxygen to form mercuric oxide, so that carbon can be used for reduction. However, because of low decomposition temperature of mercuric sulfide, before it could convert to mercuric oxide, it decomposes so that pure metal can be obtained. In case of zinc, one can do again auto reduction. Zinc sulfide can be converted into zinc oxide, and then on treatment with carbon, it gives zinc plus carbon monoxide. In case of mercury, same thing. When attempts are made to convert mercuric sulfide into mercuric oxide, it decomposes to give mercury plus SO2. Why these sulfide ores have to be converted into oxide is we do not have a suitable reducing agent that can extract sulfur from these sulfide ores. Only option we have is carbon disulfide or carbon thiomonoxide or CS. CS does not have an independent existence, and CS2 is not a suitable reagent for the reduction. So, as a result, one has to convert into oxide and then use carbon or carbon monoxide to reduce the corresponding metal. Let us look into the chemistry of group 12 elements. The reactivity decreases down the group similar to other group elements. Although zinc and cadmium have high first and second ionization energies, their redox potential are quite large and negative owing to the high solvation energy that drives the reaction. So, they readily dissolve in non-oxidizing acids. So, you can see here, so it can readily form Zn2 plus ions, and despite having very high ionization energies. In contrast, mercury will only dissolve in oxidizing acids such as nitric acid. So, the standard redox potential also I have given here for zinc, cadmium and mercury. Of course, in case of mercury it is positive, whereas in case of zinc it is negative minus 0.76, whereas in the case of cadmium it is minus 0.40 volts, and of course in case of mercury it is plus 0.85 volts. So, let us look into the halides of zinc, cadmium and mercury. All combinations of halides and metal are known for the group. The fluorides are ionic, having very high melting point. For example, zinc fluoride crystallizes with the rutile structure. Rutile means TiO2 structure, while cadmium fluoride and mercury fluoride resemble that of calcium fluoride. Okay. And of course, zinc fluoride and cadmium fluoride, similar to magnesium fluoride, they are poorly soluble in water. Chlorides, bromides and iodides of zinc and cadmium are largely ionic, but covalent character for the combination of cadmium with heavier halides increases. In contrast, mercury halides are covalent solids which are only slightly soluble in water and are only dissociated into mercury 2 plus and X minus ions. You can just see the structures of zinc fluoride. As I mentioned, it crystallizes with rotile structure. Of course, one should remember the rotile structure in which titanium is surrounded by 6 oxygen atoms, whereas oxygen is tetrahedral in nature. While cadmium fluoride and mercury fluoride have the fluoride structure similar to calcium fluoride structure I have shown, and the zinc sulphide crystallizes in two forms. In low temperature zinc blende has polarite and the higher temperature woodsite form. You can see here the woodsite structure is shown here. Let us look into the chalcogenides and related compounds of zinc, cadmium and mercury. Of course, because of chalcophilic nature, zinc, cadmium and mercury form stable compounds with sulfur, selenium and tellurium as well. Okay. Similarly, if cadmium nitrate on treatment with hydrogen sulfide gives cadmium sulfide through the formation of HNO3. And mercury has a strong affinity for thiolate ligands, that is RS minus. Okay. So, and of course, if H is there, they are called thiols. Thiols are essentially RSH. And these kind of compounds RSH are essentially known as mercaptans because of their affinity towards mercury. Thiolate complexes of zinc, cadmium and mercury are very important in biological systems. In enzyme, zinc is often bonded to the S atom of the amino acid, that is cysteine. If you have forgotten the structure of cysteine, here it is. Okay. So, this has more affinity because of the presence of sulfur towards mercury and to an extent zinc and cadmium as well. So, let us look into the oxygen compounds. Zinc has a relatively high affinity for oxygen, whereas mercury does not. Metal react directly with oxygen on heating. As I said earlier, above 400 degrees centigrade, mercuric oxide decomposes to the metal and oxygen, and zinc oxide adopts woodsite or zinc sulphide structure, which has a tetrahedral coordination of zinc ions, whereas in case of cadmium oxide, the larger cadmium 2 plus ion is better accommodated by NaCl structure, here having 6 coordination surrounding the cadmium 2 plus ion. Zinc oxide is amphoteric, that means it dissolves in both acids and bases. With excess base similar to aluminum, the hydrated zincate anions, that is I have shown here, ZnOHx H2O y times whole to the power of x minus 2 minus are formed, and solid salts such as trihydroxyzincate and tetrahydroxyzincate can also be conveniently crystallized. And in contrast to zinc oxide, cadmium oxide is not amphoteric. However, small amounts of cadmiate anions may be formed since cadmium hydroxide dissolves in hot and very concentrated potassium hydroxide solution, and addition of M2 plus ion precipitates zinc hydroxide and cadmium hydroxide. Mercuric hydroxide does not exist, and instead yellow mercuric oxide is formed. Zn2 plus 2 OH minus gives ZnOH twice. Similar attempts to make mercuric hydroxide leads to the formation of mercuric oxide. Zinc and cadmium hydroxides also dissolve in aqueous ammonia solutions by the formation of ammonia complexes. For example, this type of compounds are known, where zinc is hexa-coordinated, surrounded by 4 ammonia ligands and 2 water ligands. Salts of oxyacids are known for all 3 metals, including nitrates, sulfates and chlorates, synthesized by reaction of the oxide with acid followed by crystallization. For example, zinc oxide on treatment with perchloric acid in aqueous medium gives zinc perchlorate. Of course, here this is the counter anion and it is surrounded by 6 water molecules, so having trihedral geometry. Zinc and cadmium carbonates are rather unstable to heat as a result of the polarizing effect of the small zinc 2 plus and cadmium 2 plus ions, causing decomposition to the oxide, very similar to alkali and alkaline earth metal carbonates. For example, if you take CdCO3, it gives cadmium oxide through the liberation of carbon dioxide. Several coordination complexes of zinc, cadmium and mercury are known, and tetrahedral 4 coordination is the most common. Tetrahedral 4 coordination is most common for group 12 elements, and also whether they exist in neutral, cationic or anionic form. Coordination number 4 is the most stable one. Let me write few examples here. For example, tetraamine zinc is known, it is cationic. Okay. Neutral compounds are also known. For example, zinc chloride on treatment with the 2 equivalents of pyridine will form this type of compound. Similarly, mercury chloride on treatment with 2 equivalents of triphenyl phosphine forms neutral compound of this type. Similarly, anionic compounds are also known. For example, tetracyanozincate and tetracyanoiodocadmate are known. Of course, they form neutral compounds and cationic compounds with water as a ligand as well, having coordination number 6. So, these are few examples of coordination compounds of zinc, cadmium and mercury. Mercury has a strong tendency to adopt lower coordination numbers than cadmium and zinc. It often displays linear 2 coordination in compounds such as dialkyl mercury and also compound having composition RHGX resembling a Grignard reagent. two coordinated compounds of this type are quite known, and also in this case also it is two coordinated, and this is very similar to RMgX. So, otherwise 4 coordination is quite common for mercury compounds as well. So, colorless Hg I4 2 minus can be formed, okay, starting from mercuric iodide. For example, if it is taken, this is red in color, it is treated with 2 equivalents of iodide, it forms this one, this is colorless. Okay. That means treatment of this one with potassium iodide solution gives this tetraiodomercurate 2 minus ion. Let us look into low valent compounds of cadmium and zinc. You can see here Cd2 2 plus and zinc 2 plus species are known, but are relatively unstable compared to analogous mercury compounds. They are formed only in anhydrous conditions and readily disproportionate in water to give the metal and dicationic corresponding metals. In contrast, mercury Hg2 2 plus ion is the most stable and the best known example of a monovalent species formed by this group. Hg2 plus ion is diamagnetic and M plus ion would be paramagnetic with one unpaired electron. So, dimerization occurs through Hg-Hg bond formation, giving Hg2 plus ion. Hg plus Hg plus gives two plus, this also can be written as Hg2 2 plus. So, here there is an equilibrium between Hg2 plus and Hg2 plus ion, which has an equilibrium constant of about 170. So, that means Hg2 2 plus and Hg2 plus is about 170. Okay. So, that means in an aqueous solution of mercuric 2 salts, there will be less than 0.5 percentage of Hg2 plus present in solution. If Hg2 plus ions are removed by complexation with ligands which form stable complexes or insoluble compounds with say cyanide, then the disproportionation goes to completion. So, that means Hg2 2 plus on addition of cyanide ligands gives mercury plus mercuric cyanide. Okay. So, this is called disproportionation reaction, plus 1 is giving 0 and 2 plus species, and opposite reaction is also called comproportionation reaction. Okay. So, now let us look into one example here, one question. Using the following thermodynamic data that I have given here, show that mercurous chloride is unstable with respect to mercuric chloride and mercury. That means it is unstable with respect to the disproportionation reaction, and here these thermodynamic data are given. Delta FH of mercurous chloride is minus 265 kilojoules per mole and delta FH naught for mercuric chloride is minus 224 kilojoules per mole. Now, with this, show with an appropriate balanced chemical equation the outcome. Of course, balanced chemical equation one can write easily. So, let me do it for you. Hg2Cl2 giving HgCl2 plus Hg. So, this is the balanced chemical equation showing disproportionation of mercurous chloride to mercuric chloride plus mercury, and these values are given. So, basically delta H equals delta F H naught of HgCl2 plus delta F H naught of Hg minus delta F H naught of mercurous chloride. So, these values are already given. If you put these values here, minus 224 is given for mercury chloride, and of course, for this is 0 minus into minus 265. So, this will give you a net plus 41 kilojoules. So, that indicates this reaction, this proportionation is favored. Simple summation will show you that this mercurous chloride is unstable with respect to the disproportionation reaction. So, let us look into the uses and the toxic effects of zinc, cadmium and mercury. Of course, zinc is very important in biological system. It acts as a carbonic anhydrous. That means it removes CO2 from blood and pH of the blood is maintained. You know that H2O plus CO2 gives H plus HCO3 minus, and this compound is responsible, and here imidazole nitrogen of histidine is binding here with coordination number of 4, where one of the coordination site is occupied by OH2. This is carbonic anhydrous. So, another one is liver alcohol dehydrogenase. This complex having 2 cysteines and 1 histidine bound zinc having one water molecule converts the alcohol present in the liver. One should remember, someone who is not having this enzyme should never ever consume alcohol, and you can see here alcohol is essentially normally is ethanol CH3CH2OH, and here with this compound basically what happens, it is converted into aldehyde now. Okay. So, that means essentially the metabolism of alcohol takes place using this zinc compound. It is called liver alcohol dehydrogenase. There is one more called carboxypeptidase. Peptide bonds of the proteins we consume are hydrolyzed, is known as peptide hydrolysis. This enzyme hydrolyzes the bonds from the terminals of the protein, these 3 ligands here, and then it has one water molecule. It is called carboxypeptidase. In all these 3 compounds, zinc is the metal ion. Okay. So, the low melting point of mercury results in its being a unique metal. It is high thermal expansion coefficient, makes it a suitable liquid for use in thermometers, and it has widespread application in barometer, diffusion pumps and in mercury switches in electrical apparatus. An older use was in mirrors. Some of the metals dissolve in mercury to give amalgam. Their use are varied. For example, cadmium mercury amalgam is a component in the Western cell. Sodium amalgam is a convenient source of sodium as a reducing agent. Silver amalgam is used for silver filling in dentistry. Nowadays, it is discouraged because of the toxic effects and volatility of mercury. After entering the body as mercury vapor, the metal accumulates in the kidneys, brains and testicles. It is converted into mercury 2 plus and is readily coordinated by thiol donors present in the proteins. The end result of mercury poisoning is severe damage to the central nervous system. One of the reasons why the toxicity of mercury is so high is that its retention time in body tissue is especially very long. That means it can stay as many as 65 days in the kidneys. So, after entering the body as mercury vapor, the metal accumulates in the kidneys, brain and testicles. It is converted into mercury 2 plus and is readily coordinated by thiol, RSH donors present in proteins. The end result of mercury poisoning is very severe. I conclude the chemistry of group 12 elements. In my next lecture, I will be discussing the organometallic chemistry of main group elements. Until then, have a pleasant reading of main group chemistry. Thank you very much.